Hello, this is Gerald Jovaas. What's the difference between fear and angst or anxiety is also probably uh, available in the directions that the letters also are pointing you into that kind of awareness. Is there a difference between these things? I have a backing theory which shows you a bit better how the focus is really directing you to a certain way of thinking because of the combinations of letters. And I have this backing here at the right, and I will just give you the opportunity to see the same things from the letters alone. And what is it actually that the letters are pointing at? The F is that if you see that in the system, it is about directions, but it is about the directions. It's about the last time that we can really, the last level where we can really have a sense of directions. So we're still trying to direct things at that point, and we direct the things at the where it will end. So we will see like where shall we direct to, somewhere at the edges that is also at the same time the limit of what we can direct. There are three options there of the limit of direction. It's the G, the F, or the P. It's the limit of what you can start to direct. It's the limit of what you can develop to direct, so that you can give a direction. And the P is like it's the ending of what you can direct. So that is really the end result of everything that you can direct. So the F is that in the middle. It's always so the second place is always about material. How does that come? Because we have these three focuses in the middle. It's not about material. It's about starting points. Here's the material. Here lies the material, and here lies the borders. Very simple, actually, an idea that we use all the time to direct. So it's not really that complicated, but of course, to have the simplicity in all its complexity, it can still be a kind of challenge to learn to recognize that. But okay, we have the F. It is it is about directions, like all these letters from in green there. It's all about directions, but it's at the last zone, so the red zone. So it is becoming difficult to keep our direction under control. And we have, so even though we try to select our direction from there. The next letter is E, combined sound, written by E and A. E and A will say that there is E timing involved, and A there will be, in its own it is about a focus. But in combination, it is more like a continuation. So you have a continuation, but the first letter is about E. It's about timing. So why is that so? Because we can have points, we can have directions, or we can have orientations. The second sort of category are directions, and directions are within the time frames, because that's how we direct things. We go from before and after. We go from a starting point to an ending point. You always need that aspect of time wherever there is change involved. So here we have time, so it also means yes, we will have this difficulty to control our selections of directions for a certain period. And for a certain period, of course, with the A to it, also for with a certain continuation. So it will take, it will also continue a bit longer in that way. So, and that's the E itself is more like, it's not just the timing, it's highlighting a certain thing that will change after a while. That's where timing is involved. Timing is not just continuation on its own. There is always a change involved. So the E is that change also. It's your awareness There's timing involved because there's a difference between beginning and ending. Something is changing, and this changing is in continuation. That's that E. And because of the sound E, it will also be about new things that you could discover, but here it is, with the F, we don't have much control in that point of what we are directing there. There will be new things. It will take a while. It will take its time, and it has a certain continuation how this happens. That's what you already can derive from F, E, and A together. And the R is in my system. It is it connects itself with to certain points with material in its own, with feedbacks in its own. It is attaching itself via a feedback process as well. A feedback process that says, okay, it will have an effect on how you sense it, what is brought to it. Also as material, it will have its effect, its feedback effect to you in the end. So you can have some kind of understanding from the letters. So you have these circumstances which are running, which are continuing, of course, that we know already. It seems to be about certain circumstances that fill itself in, and they are a bit unpredictable. That's what I can derive from it. Different from angst. Angst actually starts from a very specific idea what it is. It's a very specific focus A, which says this is a reality for me, and I have a definition of my reality. Every word with has then a very objective idea which you decide, which you can interpret. It's the A means yes, I know what I'm talking about. So in that way, it is a focus which is predictable as a starting point. So you have an idea of what is predictable and what is real and what is a reality. Everything you understand is defined in A. And then out from there is, from that reality, my reality, I take something out into and will give that a direction. But that direction has the sound M. M is the combination of N plus G. G is always about something that is bigger than the reality. It is a reality which you don't see, so it's only a reality that you can sense by feedback. It's wider beyond the horizons, and it will connect you to something that is bigger than that reality. So we have a definition, but we go, this definition, what we think that reality is, still leads us to something which is bigger. That's ang. Bigger than what we expect it can be. Bigger than what we understand it can be. The S to it will give that a very unpredictable nature, because S is something at the end of the system. It is what you don't control at all. It's just the last effect that you get. So it's the effect that immediately goes towards it, which the leftover effect of all what happens. And it's unpredictable in nature. So we go to something bigger, but that bigger thing is also unpredictable in nature. And that's what we define. And that's what angst is about. It's actually that unknown, unpredictable behavior which exists because we have a definition of what we understand. So this is actually the part that we don't understand, that we cannot sense. We try to take it out, but it's bigger than ourselves, and it's going to lead us to something that, yes, is unpredictable, and that is defined as angst. Anxiety goes a bit better. It's a bit wider range of there's a bigger word. So it also will have a wider range of explanations. but it starts the same thing. We have our reality, we take something out of reality. So when we are interpreting reality, this brings us to something which is bigger than ourselves, that we know already, and it's connecting to a bigger sense of reality. So even when we start to interpret, it will still lead us to things that are bigger than ourselves. The X instead, it goes even better, expands it even wider. So while normally the feedback process of G is it will come to us, so we will learn something from it. We will receive things that are bigger via G. Or with Ang, it will connect to something which is unknown as well, to something different. But the X is at the borders of the physical reality that or the predictable reality, and it exceeds its borders. So that means that even there, because you are at the edges of what you can sense normally, usually, automatically from your starting point of view and have a feedback from it, it exceeds that point via ANGST. The E is again a new thing with A. Eventually you can have that as well for a certain time. To T, to a definition, we give that a definition. And where does the definition brings us? Via Y. And Y is driving the directions, what we understand and what we sense, not towards us, but away from us. So also there, all the definition of what we understand is driving away. It's breaching, not just breaching after X with a Y. It's also it's going further and further away from what we understand, and that gives us that kind of sense and expression. And that's why also it is expressed as anxiety. I hope these explanations of the letter combinations brought you closer to understand these words. Not sure if how much they will help to do something about it. I don't know, because that could be interesting as well. But I have already given you a basis that it starts from we meet actually the unknown terrain, and this unknown terrain is not. It's not having a direct feedback. No, it is the direct feedback is getting more and more indirect the whole time, and that makes that anxiety also more real. Okay, thanks again for watching. Bye.